This is part two of this sit-down lesson. I had to cut the part one of this video short because I was talking to one of my family members, and this is continual to part two of this sit-down lesson. And continuing on with the reading, it says the Milas operation came less than a week after China conducts a 3-day military drill around Taiwan in response to talks on U.S. soil between House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and island President Tsai Ing-wen. Beijing, which considers Tsai, which is the president of Taiwan, call her as a separatist, frequently accuses America's political leaders of interfering in its internal affairs, while Taipei argues China has no right to dictate the island's nation-foreign relations. She of the PLA said Chinese forces followed the U.S. Argla-Burke-class guide missile destroyer throughout its transit. Taiwan defense minister said on Monday that the Milas, unaccompanied by other friendly vessels, sailed in a northern direction out the Strait. Naval ships are occasionally those of U.S. allies too have transited the Taiwan Strait as fairly regular interval in recent years, including 9 times in 2022 and 12 times in 2021. This past January, the destroyer USS Kong Hong conducted the first Strait transit of the year before the PLA Maritime Patrol aircraft conduct a similar operation in February. It says since last summer, China's military and civilian leaders have questioning the legal right of foreign vessels and aircraft to transit the waterway without Chinese government express permission in what U.S. officials sees as an attempt by Beijing to enroll international norms. The 7th Fleet, which is a headquarters of Yokosuka, Japan, said on Sunday that the Milas operating through waters where high seas freedoms of navigation overflows apply in accordance with the international law. The ship transits through the coral in the Strait is beyond the territorial sea of any coastal state. The statement added the United States military flies, sails, and operate anywhere international law allows. The 50% of the container ship that is moving around the world every day goes around the Taiwan Strait. 70% or more of the computer chips manufactured in the world at higher ends are manufactured on Taiwan. On Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says in January, it appears at the University of Chicago that it gets disputed. The entire economy will suffer. In less than a month, the Milas has challenged Beijing maritime claims 3 times in separating freedom of navigation operations, or the FONOPS, on March 23rd and April 9th. The warship rejects excessive Chinese claims in the South China Sea by sailing by disrupt Paracel and Prairie Islands groups. They award Navy first FONOPS of the years after 5 such operations in 2022. In the 5-year before that, China's defense minister in the U.S. 7th Fleet did return separate emails seeking comment before publication. So as you see, I was continuing on finishing the news article And this was part one of this news article. As I mentioned, China forces on high alert after a U.S. warship transit Taiwan Strait for the second time this year. As you see, I mentioned this in part one of this video. While the rising tensions between, the rising tensions between China versus the United States over Taiwan, as the tensions are continuing to escalate even more and more. Salakia. And this is the matter of fact, I'm bringing the book of Mark 13:8, I believe. And this is the book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 8, and it reads to the Holy Scripture, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginning of sorrows." Right, so you're going to have continual escalating between the activities, what's going on down there in the South China Sea, right along the Taiwan Strait, as the tensions are continuing to escalate between China versus the United States over Taiwan, as Taiwan continues to get protection and security from the United States as being unofficial allies with the United States, and that continues to anger China, especially with China with their latest military activities been building up, increasing, as the tensions between the United States and China is starting to increase even more and more and more. So with that, hopefully this sit-down lesson was edifying. This was part two of this lesson. So I did part one, and this is part two of this lesson. As it reads again, China forces on high alert after U.S. warship transits Taiwan Strait. So with that, hopefully this sit-down lesson was edifying for part one and part two of this lesson. From MSN.com, published by John Fang 5 hours ago from Newsweek.com. As it states again, China forces on high alert after U.S. warship transit Taiwan Strait for the second time this year. So with that, I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Mokar Kadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely as well too. And until next time, I will say shalom.